Many of us simply don't know about it.
Right.
There's a myth that I think many folks think is that you've got to be a golfer
Right.
to be in the golf industry, and that is not the case. You have to
Got
be a
it.
golfer to be on TV and play on Sundays, but you
Right.
do have to be a golfer to take
Right.
advantage of this $102 billion industry. That's a small segment.
Greetings, my posse. Welcome to the Roundup with Rodney and Rodney. I'm Rodney J. Littles.
And I'm Rodney Butler. Hey, once again, right now, I want to say Happy New Year. I don't know what's the limit of saying Happy New Year. Some people say, 3 days in. Some people say stop saying it.
Right.
But look, this is the first time that we've had an opportunity to talk with each
Yes,
other,
sir.
and I know that this is going to be the 16th. But I just want to definitely say Happy New Year to you again, brother. And I also
Yes, sir.
want to say Happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
Today
Thank
is
you. I
your
appreciate
birthday
it. Yes,
on
sir.
this Thursday, January the 16th.
Yes, sir.
And obviously I wish you many, many more.
Thank you, bro.
You're probably over 50, but you look somewhere around 38, 39.
Well, I'll take that. I'll take that.
Yeah, exactly. And also I definitely want to wish my sorority sisters of Zeta Phi Beta a
Yes.
happy Founders Day.
Amen.
It's been 105 years of finer womanhood,
That's
and
right.
definitely to my Zetas, to we are constitutionally bound, sister. We love you. I will always love you guys, and I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful Founders Day and Founders Week. That being said, right now, what we got today, man? In our very first episode of
First
our
show,
second
the
season.
second
Yes,
season.
sir.
Oh
What we got?
man, I couldn't be happier to be able to share my birthday with the gentleman that's our guest tonight. I've known Mr. Beatty, Jim Beatty, for a number of years. I met him out there in the field working in economic development and industrial development. He's a fine gentleman. And I didn't know he had this avocation for golf until a couple of years ago when he said, Rodney, I'm coming to Atlanta and we're going to do the African American Golf Expo and Forums. I said, what? He said, yeah. So the very first one was here in the Atlanta area.
Wow.
I've had the opportunity to hang with him since then. Let me give you a little background about this brother before we bring him in, man.
Yes,
It's
sir.
amazing. Uh, American Golfers Digest has been appointed to the 2020 task force. Beatty was asked by the World Golf Foundation president, Steve Mona, to join this effort. In his role, Jim will be involved in the communications and supply diversity subcommittees. Jim is an avid golfer and is based in Omaha, Nebraska. Since May 2010, he continues to serve as the editorial advisory board member of the African American Golfers Digest, the nation's leading print publication on an online portal for black golfers in America. The mission of the Diversity Task Force is to unite and activate the golf industry around key strategic initiatives that increase participation and retention of participants, inspire involvement and interest in the game, and promote sustainable best practices for golf facilities. The effort is committed to increasing participation specifically as it relates to ethnic and gender diversity. Welcome, Jen. Glad to have you, man.
Glad to be here and happy new year and happy birthday to you, sir.
Thank you, my brother. So tell me, what got you started on this journey to try to open up the golf industry? We play golf, don't we? We pay?
I have a slogan. We play, we pay, we count. We
Okay.
All
we
right.
do play. There's 24 million golfers, active golfers in America, meaning that they play on, a 9 or an 18 hole golf course, and of that, we represent something close to about a million golfers, depending on who's counting. But we represent 4 or 5% of all golfers in the United States. Um, as I learned more and more about the game, I obviously became interested in the business and the industry. Golf is a $102.1 billion industry.
Wow.
And so my curiosity took me to the business side immediately. Where are we from the business standpoint in terms of jobs, in terms of businesses that serve the golf industry? And what I found is that not much, not much. And so it became a crusade, avocation, mantra, whatever you want to call it, on my part, to some way, somehow, in whatever it is I could do to affect that. And that is what helped create the African American Golf Expo and Forum, among other things that I'm involved in golf as well.
Okay, so tell me, what was the reception as as staffed up this committee and started talking to folks in the industry at the top? And who are some of the major players that have been giving you a positive response and participating?
The response from the industry has been great. We can always take more positive response. There's never a lack of that. But I will have to say, I've got to thank the golf industry for their reception to it. They've been supporters in a financial sense as well as in an attendance role, sponsorships, being involved in our networking and breakout sessions, exhibits, and what have you. And I have had the chance to talk at one time or another the commissioners or presidents of the PGA, the LPGA, the PGA Tour, PGA of America, USGA, and each of those organizations has been a sponsor in now what is our fifth year of operation, and I'm very, very pleased with that. Our attendance over the 5 years, we probably have been involved or have had, I, I'd say 3 to 4,000 people attend the expo. And because of a unique relationship we have this year with the PGA of America, we might get that many this year alone.
Oh,
We'll
tell
see.
me
I
about
mean,
it.
a lot of things have to work out now. I probably shouldn't have said that, but a lot of things have to work out.
Right.
But this year, we have received permission to run the expo coincident with the PGA show in Orlando, in which some 30,000 people are scheduled to attend that. So if I can get 10% of them to
Oh,
come to
gotcha.
the expo activities, then that'd be 3,000 according to my math. So
Wow.
I'm optimistic, very optimistic.
Excellent, excellent. Well, tell folks a little bit about how this segued from your subcommittee role. And is this something that you put together, or was this part of the industry putting? Give me some history on this.
Yeah, so in my various roles, from a volunteer
Right.
standpoint, I was asked to chair various committees. And I think, like most people, once you are asked to do something, if you take it serious, you do your research on it. You find out what it is you are involved in, how you could possibly affect it, and then what you can do individually in your respective role. And like most things, it evolves over time. So initially, I was asked to chair the recreational subcommittee of, it was called back then, We Are Golf. Then it became Golf 2020. But it was to get more people involved in the recreational side, which is great. I think that
Hmm.
should be done. But as I began to see the business side, I got very involved in the supplier diversity component of it because that's where the money is. I make no bones about it. You know,
You're a
102 million
businessman.
dollars. Let's see how much of that we can get to our respective communities and businesses.
Right.
So that led me to that and attending the PGA show, which, by the way, as I mentioned, will draw some 30,000 people. But just to give you some idea of the other way to size that, that's under 1.1 million square feet of space at the Orange County Convention Center in Orlando. 1,000 businesses will be typically are exhibiting there. There may be, there might be 10 black businesses in any one year of that 1,000 exhibiting there. So clearly you can see a disparity, and it became my mission to try to affect that in a positive way. And what we have learned in history is that we have to work cooperatively to get that done, and that's what I've tried to do. And this year, I believe, is the epitome. It's historic. It's the epitome of what has happened. The PGA of America, the PGA show, has never allowed another entity to coexist with them during that week in
Okay.
Orlando.
Okay.
And with the appropriate permissions and agreements, we've been able to do that. And so this is historic. It's never been done in the 72-year history of the PGA show.
Well, tell us a little bit about the forums. Who's speaking? What are the topics? What's
Absolutely.
going on?
The mission of the African American Golf Expo and Forum is to inform, to educate, and to celebrate the accomplishments and activities of African Americans in the field, the sport, and the business of golf. And so, to that end, we always try to certainly to educate by finding organizations, people that are involved in golf, and to help put shine on them, share their story. So, as an example, this year we will have in our breakout sessions the Preserve Shady Rest Golf Committee. Preserve Shady Rest Committee. Shady Rest was the first black
Oh,
golf club owned in America in 1921. Black people
wow.
put together $100,000 and bought it from the owners, which was a white golf club that was expanding. They put together $100,000 and bought the club.
In
Well,
1921,
1921, yes, sir.
that was a lot of money in today's dollars.
Yeah,
Yes,
I
sir.
take it today too, Rodney. I wouldn't mind
I
it
know that's right.
as well. So, but yeah, your point's so well taken because that's also the days of the Green Book in terms of what
Yes.
we could do and where we could go and what have you. So,
Yes.
$100,000 in those days, I'm not certain what the amount would be today, but I suspect it'd be in the millions. Um,
Yes.
I was in this is in Scotch Plains, New Jersey.
Hmm.
And so what happened, and it's such a great cultural story, is that uh, once that club was purchased, actually it was a golf and tennis club.
Okay.
Okay, you had people the likes of Duke Ellington, Count Basie, the greats. You even had Althea Gibson that
Wow.
played there. Okay, tennis
Okay.
obviously as well too.
Yeah.
And by the
Yeah.
way, Althea was the first black ladies professional golfer in America after she was
Oh,
an outstanding tennis player. So you have
okay.
that history. So the folks from New York, after they did their jobs and what have you in New York, they would actually come to Scotch Plains and play golf as well as in the evenings take advantage of the entertainment there at the
Oh,
facility
gotcha.
as well too. Yes, sir. So it has quite a history, um, and I was very honored to go there about a month ago and speak to the preservation committee. In fact, they will be at the expo, not only talking but exhibiting. We have the United Golfers Association, which is in 2025 will celebrate its 100th year anniversary.
Hmm.
The UGA, as it is known, is the group that most black folks belong to because they could not play in the
Hmm.
PGA events. There was
Hmm.
a Caucasian only clause up until
Right.
1961. And so the UGA is where most black golfers got their start. Lee Elder, Calvin Pete, they all were a part of it. Charlie Sifford, Teddy
Okay.
Rhodes. I mean, I could keep naming Joe Lewis. They
Oh,
were all
wow.
a part of that
Okay.
association. And this year, their executive director will be there to talk about the United Golf Association. We have the Black College Golf Coaches Association that will be
Oh,
there. The coaches that are at the HBCUs, the historically black colleges and
yes.
universities, they will be
Yes.
talking. Their president, Leonard Smoot, will be in attendance and speaking that day as well too. We have Super Bowl, I believe it's 53, MVP Santonio Holmes from the
Okay.
Steelers.
Okay.
He will be there. He will have an exhibit. He has a nonprofit called 10 All In which he and his co-founder, Jimmy Vincent, they were lifelong childhood friends, and they formed the foundation to help bring STEM and other cultural and economic opportunities to kids in the Palm Beach area near where they grew up. He will be in attendance as well. Malachi Knowles with the African
Oh
American.
yes, my frat brother.
Yes, sir. Oh my goodness. But nonetheless, he will be there with the African American Hall of Fame. But we also
Yes.
have the National Black Golfers Hall of Fame with Jeff Donovan and
Nice.
his people there. Jeff and his father are the only one of the few, they're the only black father and son PGA professionals in the history of the game. I just
Wow.
received notice a couple of days ago they will be there. The National Golf Player Development Foundation, NGPDF, based out of Arizona, which is to help young people of color that want to play at a high level competitive golf, high school, college, and pro. They will
Okay.
be there. Mark Lowry, the CEO and founder. I mean, I can go on forever and take the whole time, but that gives you a flavor of
Yeah.
who's coming. But the whole point is to inform and educate our community about what's out here in the universe, the golf universe, that we need to know about and take advantage of.
So do
And
you think
support, I might say, and support as well too, because they all,
exactly? I was hoping there'd be some support.
yes,
Yes.
sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. So, what other professional athletes are involved in the golf game that may not play golf as their main sport, but are active in promoting the issues that you're trying to get across the table?
Well, in their own way, perhaps the best example is Steph Curry,
Okay.
who we all know as perhaps the greatest shooter in basketball, certainly in terms of 3 point. But we've all have seen him play. Well, Steph Curry sponsors his own golf tour for youngsters of color. It's
Wow.
called the Underrated Tour. And
Wow.
he puts his own money. Obviously, he has some sponsors involved in that as well too.
Right.
But his commitment to golf is exemplary, and I would hope as other professional athletes learn and know about Steph Curry that they would follow his examples. He has given these kids outstanding opportunities. Rodney's, you mind if I say Rodney's because that's easier for me?
Right.
Uh, he has first class accommodations around the country where these kids play. But Steph and his crew, his company, they provide the transportation and lodging. They pay for all of that so that these kids can play on first class facilities around the country. He does a
Mm.
marvelous job, and I would simply ask your public to Google the Underrated Tour and read about it. But he is perhaps the best example. And what he's most noted for was donating millions. I do not have the exact number because it's not been disclosed to Howard University to resurrect their golf team a few years ago. And now Howard University is one of the top golf teams in America, not just HBCUs, but
Oh,
among D1 as well too.
no
So
kidding.
he does a lot. J.R. Smith, who of course played in the NBA, and then after his playing days went back to school. He's at North Carolina State University, and he was playing on the golf team there. But we all know that Michael Jordan, after his playing days, matter of fact, during his playing days, he would golf all the time.
Yeah.
And
Right.
now that he's retired, he actually opened his own golf course. I believe it's been about 4 years ago now, called Grove 23.
Okay.
23, of course, after his number. And
All
he
right.
has a very exclusive high-end golf club as well too. So people have found their particular way to get into golf, and whatever way they choose, that's certainly up to them. But it certainly shows you the appeal of golf to many, many professional athletes. Just 2 days ago,
Yes.
if there was a golf tournament that Fred the Hammer Williamson had out in California, where all of his football buddies. Now I'm dating myself, but of course, he was a famous football player, graduated from Northwestern, from Gary, Indiana,
Oh,
initially. But he has a fundraiser every year out in California. So I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on, and I would take up the full show
I
giving you
know, I know,
examples
but I
of
just
that.
get
But
overview.
Those are just a few.
Good overview. Well, Rodney, did you hear what Jim said? 100+ billion being spent. Jim, where are the sectors in this 100 billions you think we could take advantage of?
All over the place. Let me start with this. Golf also employs direct and indirect about 1.7 million people. To put it
Okay.
another way, the statistic that the National Foundation Golf Foundation uses is that roughly 1 out of every 200 jobs in America is golf related. Now think about
Wow.
that. 1 out of every 200 jobs in America is some way, somehow golf related. Examples would be as you may watch golf televised or on some video platform. Obviously, it needs people to run video. It needs people to do perform those kind of duties. On air personalities, announcers, narrators. It goes on and on and on. But
Mm-hmm.
behind the scenes, people have to lay cable. People have to have
Mm-hmm.
satellite communications trucks.
Mm-hmm.
People have to eat while they're on the golf course. So food and beverage becomes a big part
Mm-hmm.
of it. When some of the larger tournaments come to town, there's always housing that the players will need. One of the young men that I was involved with a few years ago, he was responsible for housing for the Masters, for the people that come to Augusta and watch the Masters tournament, which is one of the top four golf tournaments, outstanding tournaments in America in terms of major tournaments for sure.
Right.
Social media has increasingly become a big part of golf as well too. Might not have been there 20 years ago, but
Right.
it is there now. And so, whether it's napkins, hot dogs, golf balls, golf clubs, golf caps, apparel, you name it, there's an opportunity to become involved in golf in a variety of ways. And at the expo, we are simply trying to inform and educate people on what those opportunities are.
Are there any of us out there that can meet some of this demand and supply some of these goods and services?
Without a doubt, people that are in business right now should think about how their business can support the golf industry. So let me take an example. All golf courses, many that have private clubs,
Mm-hmm.
country clubs,
Right.
their buildings. Well, what happens when you own a building, when you own your house? You need electrical work, you need plumbing work, you need carpentry work. And so today, a black golfer or a black electrician or a black plumber may not think about becoming involved in golf, but repairing pipes is repairing pipes, regardless of where it is, right?
That's
Or adding or whatever the case might be. Electrical work the same way. Yeah, we're out there now deployed in various industries that in fact can begin to serve the golf world. And in fact, one of the other things I've done, Rodney, which I won't bore you with the details, but did help form the National Association of Black Golf Merchandisers to, in a trade association type of way, begin to galvanize our people to take their talents to the golf industry, irrespective of what they're doing locally, but to
right.
know that the golf industry is out there and this is another industry that they should take advantage of in terms of contractual opportunities and revenue opportunities. So we're out there now. Many of us simply don't know about it.
Right.
There's a myth that I think many folks think is that you've got to be a golfer
Right.
to be in the golf industry, and that is not the case. You have to be a
Gotcha.
golfer to be on TV and play on Sundays, but you
Right.
don't have to be a golfer to take
Right.
advantage of this $102 billion industry. That's a
Hey.
that's a small segment. That's 200 or so golfers that are playing, from the men anyway, that are playing on Sundays. The Tiger Woods, if you will, and others
Mm-hmm.
like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's one little
Gotcha.
piece of it. And so, while I would be amazed and pleased that there are others out there that can play at that level, I'm just as happy to know that there are others like Eastside Golf. They have a golf course. 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 They have a golf co out of Atlanta that
Mm-hmm.
has forged a tremendous niche in lifestyle golfing and what have you, and others that are out there that can provide and not only apparel but services. Golf has to count its money. Therefore, accountants, CPA firms, golf provides pensions. There are 30,000 people that work for that are PGA professionals. And
Oh,
yes, sir. And they all are contributing to the pension plan. So there's black groups out there, because I've met them, that manage pension plans and pension funds.
right.
So there's so many avenues and nooks and crannies for us to find our niche into this space. My best estimate is that we perhaps represent 2%, maybe
Okay.
3%, and I'm being generous here, but we're 14% of the population. So we have an
Oh,
opportunity to increase six, sevenfold in terms of what we're doing now. And I would have to say golf has been uh, increasingly more and more receptive and open to expanding the supplier base. And of
okay.
course, those of us that are out there pushing this have talked with them, and we continue to assist them in identifying companies that could become suppliers to golf companies or golf associations, whatever the case might be.
Ooh, in
Yeah,
this,
it's a lot.
yeah, bro. Well, in this political climate that we're in, there seems to be some pressure in corporate America to back away from, they call it DEI, call it supply diversity, business opportunities for our folks. What 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 do you see that as having an impact or no? Is there, in other words, is there a benefit to the industry by participating in this initiative? Do they get a return on this?
It's like any company that decides to either initiate a program or help assist businesses from an ethnic or racial standpoint. It's upon them to select the best business. We don't want you to select a company just because they're black. We want you to select a good company, and if they happen to be black, then so much the better. But
Mm-hmm.
listen, we've seen this in history already. It was called affirmative action. It was called equal opportunity. So we've seen iterations of this. So we're not surprised that the name changes or the name dissipates, but the effort has to be there. But it also belies the point that as black folks get move into the positions in these corporations, as well as the non-black folks that occupy the positions, simply do what's best for your company. And if you keep a closed mind, you actually could be hurting your company. For all you know, as a corporate buyer, the XYZ company, who may be Asian, may be black, may be woman, could be the best thing that you've ever done for your company. But if you
Right.
keep a closed mentality on it, you actually could be hurting your company. So call the program what you want. You don't even have to call it a program. But what I
Right.
do want to
Right.
see is the effort. And there are many things we're asking people to become entrepreneurs, internal entrepreneurs, if you will. We're asking people to become change agents. So
Mm-hmm.
today, you may be well down the totem pole, but depending on the size of the company, that totem pole can be worth millions of dollars. You can, on your own, begin to identify companies. You can have internal to your company Zoom calls. Listen, we're going to do $50 million in fencing next year, and we'd like the entire United States businesses involved in that to know what we're doing, how we're doing it. So you could have a Zoom or whatever platform you want to use about that. So you have to start thinking creatively. This is what we would ask people. I call myself a cooperative disruptor, and so you can be that. You
I
can be
like
that.
that.
Okay. You still have to, and the studies show it does accrue to the bottom line. Some of the
Okay.
best programs in America, whether you're talking about the National Minority Supplier Development Initiative or what have you,
Hmm.
they point out the companies who are very, very proud. Union Pacific Railroad, as an
Hmm.
example, has a great one. And they're not going to relinquish their quest for great companies to do great work. They're simply saying, we're going to open it up. We know people of all backgrounds can do great work. And we're not going to hamper you because you're this or you're that. So
Hmm.
call it whatever you want. I simply call it a great effort.
I like that. I like that. Wow. Phew, that was a mouthful.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
All right. So when is this event coming up in Orlando?
The African American Golf Expo and Forum, this is the fifth year, and we will be in Orlando January 22nd through the 25th. The activities will kick off with the annual Diversity Roundtable, which
Hmm.
is not which is not a part of the expo in terms of what the expo has brought to the table, but I'm a part of that effort as well too. And
Okay.
that's 250 of your closest friends in the conference room talking about various issues, business and commerce, nonprofits. There are tons of nonprofits in the golf space,
Mm.
and player development. So it kicks off at 1 o'clock on January 22nd, and that'll go until 6 o'clock. And at 6:30, from 6:30 to 9 o'clock on Wednesday and Thursday will be our exhibits, the expo exhibits, which will be held at the Hyatt Regency Florida Ballroom B and C, right across the street from the Orange County Convention Center. Hopefully, in the future, we'll be able to do it at the Orange County Convention Center. But because of time commitments and some other arrangements, we this year will be at the Hyatt Regency, and it is free and open to the public, 18 and older. You don't have to be black. You don't have to be a golfer. You simply can come and learn and enjoy. Now, our breakout sessions will be held on Thursday, the 23rd, at the Orange County Convention Center. And I've just named a few of the people that will be speaking there. That, again, is open to the public at no cost. Because of the generosity of our sponsors, we've been able to do that. When I
Great.
started riding, we actually charged registration fees of
Yes.
$150. We now have down to zero. We don't charge anybody
Great.
anything.
That's
So because
fantastic,
of our
Jim.
sponsors and our great sponsors and exhibitors, we're opening it up to everyone. And based on the data I'm receiving daily, we're getting a number of people signing up, and we want to have more. And I also want to say this.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we're also launching community service projects. We started this
Oh,
last. We'll have two
yes.
community
Yes.
service projects.
Okay.
We're collecting socks that will be given to the homeless in the
Nice.
Orlando area. So
Nice.
bring your socks to room 206. That's where the breakout sessions will be held. And we have a company out of Philadelphia called This Is Good Water, one of the few, if not the
Yes, I've
only
heard of them.
black-owned water company in the United
Yes.
States. They're going to be providing through their efforts called Six Pack for Seniors,
Oh,
water to senior citizens in the Orlando area. This is another
awesome.
community service project. So we want to impact Orlando in a very positive way. I feel very much from a Christian as well as business standpoint, we can combine a lot of efforts. It's not always all about money. Money helps, there's no question about that, but we can find ways to be good stewards while we're on this planet.
So you didn't get any pushback going to Florida, did you?
Certainly, we recognize what the NAACP has said about Florida, and we recognize that. This is our second event in Florida, and so what I have done is invited every member of the Florida legislature and the
Good.
governor to come on down and see firsthand. What
Excellent.
people don't understand is that the NAACP did not say don't go. They simply said be conscious and be aware of what you're doing. So we have reached out We will provide exhibit space to any NAACP chapter in Florida at no cost. They can have voter registration. They can do membership. We will these membership, excuse me, these exhibits. We typically charge for that, but end up any NAACP chapter in Florida, we will give you space at zero, non-free, total cost
Beautiful.
zero. We will do that. And
Beautiful.
again, if any of the Florida legislature hears this or the governor, come on down. We want to show you firsthand what we're doing, why we're doing it, and in the process, have you have a better understanding of what
Right.
actually is going on and how your policies affect what Black people are doing, not only in Florida but in the United States.
Well said. Rodney, what you got?
Hey, man, that was a lot. And that was a lot of great information. And well, Rodney, one thing I was going to ask about was, was the DEI kind of stuff, in the golf community, and that was pretty much, kind of answered. I guess the only thing that I would add to that is, so Jim, how would, like, let's say, you have I know you talk about the jobs, and I think 1 in every 200 jobs, right, is in the golf space. So how do we have about 65% of the approximately 1,000 people that's going to watch this episode? Okay, 65% are Black men. Okay, and range from anywhere. Primarily, they're 35 to 65. That's the biggest group that we have here, right? And I want to ask this question for them, and that is that, let's say, you want to get into, the golf space, and you want to do something like just come in as a caddy, or come in as a groundskeeper, or come in as someone who how do you get a space or a venue, for instance, in those clubhouses or whatever? I know it's kind of there's three things I kind of threw at you, but how do you get into that kind of space of the golf world?
Well, Riley Butler, let me respond to that one. When you go past a golf course,
Mm-hmm.
what you see, hopefully, is green grass. It didn't get it's a well maintained course at that too. Well,
Yes.
there's a crew under what's called a golf course superintendent that has a crew that is up at 5 6 a.m. doing the maintenance work. I will tell you that the Golf Course Superintendents Association of America, GCSAA, is on the lookout for people that want to become groundskeeper. GCSAA, if they Google that, Golf Course Superintendents of America, they can begin to seek out those job opportunities there for sure. They can become part of the grounds crew for certain in that regard. Caddies, let me talk about that for a second. Caddies, certainly there's caddies on the pro tours and what have you. But here's what I'd like to say about caddies. Through an association in golf that helps people become caddies when they're youngsters, youngsters actually can earn a college scholarship
Mm.
through caddying,
Mm.
uh, for sure.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
There are associations out there that you not only can earn money caddying on a weekend or what have you, but if
Right.
you
Right.
become part of this association, and they can Google it, they have scholarships that they provide on an annual basis for youngsters, young people. I'm sorry, I should say that for young people that caddy on a regular basis. There are scholarships out there, and in some cases, 4-year scholarships. So
Wow.
parents would be interested in that, as well as the youngsters that, excuse me, the young people, men and women, young men
Mm-hmm.
and young women
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that can caddy, and they learn quite a bit in that process as well too. And they also make some excellent contacts as a result of that. So there are multiple opportunities, And again, because of the age range you gave me, not only you, but your children and perhaps your grandchildren, depending on where you are on that age spectrum, right?
Right.
Begin to look at golf from that standpoint. So maintenance opportunities, the skill level that's required, agronomy. So, I'm encouraging folks to, pay attention to the STEM opportunities,
Mm-hmm.
science,
Mm-hmm.
technology, engineering, and math in school. There's opportunities out there where you can use this on the golf course. So again, you don't have to golf
Right.
to have a job in golf.
I love it. I love it. I
And
love it.
Rodney, the only other thing that I had was as far as the the event that's coming up. Uh so we talked about why the NAACP, well, we didn't talk about why, but we know that the NAACP, put out some information about Florida, and we understand the reasons why, because of the governor and all this other kind of stuff. So what I would ask, Jim, is there for this event, is there special consideration that is being taken and given to some of the local black owned businesses around where the expo and everything is going to take place, and that was
Sure.
my last thing I
We,
had. Yes, sir.
We have been we've tried to be very conscientious with that. We have met with representatives from the mayor's office, as well as representatives from the county. The Orange County Convention Center is actually in District 6. County Commissioner Michael Scott. We have been coordinating with his office to help identify and take advantage of opportunities. And so I would ask any business that is interested in coming, please come out. If you want to exhibit, there's still time. I should have mentioned that most of our information is on the website,
Right.
aagolfexpo.com,
Repeat that. Repeat that.
aagolfexpo.com, aagolfexpo.com, aagolfexpo.com. We will find a way to involve any business, especially African American owned business that wants to take advantage of the opportunities in the golf industry. We will find a way to accommodate them, whether they're an attendee or an exhibitor, whatever fits what works best for them. We will do that. I appreciate the question because we want to really continue to help educate people on the opportunities. And as I mentioned before, many people did not see golf or don't see golf as an opportunity from a business standpoint.
Right.
The
Right.
other thing, if I may, I want to
Please.
mention that we also have been working very closely with this year, excuse me, 2024, 10 HBCUs to bring
Right.
golf to their schools, not to their golf team, but to on a planned basis to work with these schools to say to the students that think about golf as a field for you to go into because golf again requires social media, IT, and it goes on and on and on. So we have coordinated with the White House in this initiative, and we have been working with 10 schools. We hope that we will work with 20 to 25 schools this year. We have even put in golf simulators for the students to use just recreationally.
Right.
Just
Right.
use
Right.
ping pong or pool table. Well, we have
Yeah.
simulators that through what's called Make Golf Your Business, Make Golf Your Career, Make Golf Your Thing. We have been able to provide these to HBCUs at no cost. The
Nice.
only thing the HBCUs have to do is provide the space for it.
Right.
But I would ask them to get a hold of me and we would begin to have discussions with them. It has to come from the leadership of the school now
Right.
to say
Right.
you want this. And again, this is not necessarily for the golf team. This is for the
No.
students. And
Students.
the
Yeah.
golf team can use it, don't get me wrong. But we
Right.
simply are saying to the students, look at golf now. One of
Right.
every 200 jobs in America is golf related. So think about this as you're nearing graduation, the field you're going to go into. Give golf a chance. There's some great jobs out here, and we want to make you aware of them. And again, you don't have to play golf to work in golf.
And can you give me your slogan again? That was you gave it to us at the top of the show.
We
Can you close
play,
with that?
we play, we pay, we count. We play golf recreationally. We pay when we go play. Therefore, we better count.
I love it. I
It's all
love it.
right.
Wait, Rodney, I know you didn't know this was going to be the show that it was, but to kick off the new year. But on my birthday, I couldn't have anybody else but this brother. I knew he was going to be dynamic, but more importantly, I want to thank him for being so courageous and not being selfish about the contacts and the resources he has, and he's really advocating for all of us in our community to participate in what we never knew was such a huge industry. So I want to thank you, Jim, for your sacrifice, your time, and tell your wife I said hello because we're gonna need to thank her too.
Oh, I could not do it without her support. And I have to thank
Amen.
you, Rodney Littles, and you, Mr. Rodney Butler, for allowing me. And best of success on your programs. Congratulations on completing a great first year. And I hope I helped kick year two off, season two off in a proper way for you.
Well, we'll make sure that we share it. And you talk about social media. We make sure we'll share it on all the Black Golf Facebook pages.
Well, look,
We play, we pay, we count.
We
we
count.
we count. Look, Jim, I was eagerly awaiting this show, and Rodney, after the after halfway through the first season, everybody in the Black Man's Roundtable space knew not to ever question any guest that Rodney Littles bring on, because we know whoever you bring on, they're going to bring it. Sometimes we don't know to the end. We don't know to the very. We might not know to the very end who Rodney's bringing on, but we never question that. And Mr. Jim Beatty, you definitely, it was a pleasure for me to hear the business side of golf. I've never heard that. I don't think that many of our followers for the Black Man's Roundtable have heard the business side of it, and to hear it, hear that business side from from someone who looked like us makes a huge difference. And I hope that brothers out here, sisters as well, but we hope that that everybody really embraced and took in what you said. So I know I did. I learned a lot, and I thank you for it, sir.
Thank
Amen.
you so much again. I appreciate you fellas so much. Thank
All
you.
right. God bless you, man. Much
God bless you.
success.
Thank you. I need it. I'll
All
take it.
right. I know. God bless.
Yes, sir. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Well, another roundup.
Yep. Got another one in, Rodney, and it was
First of the year.
yeah, man, it was a pleasure. It was definitely a pleasure having him on, and just to learn so much about the business side of golf. I knew,
Right.
as we was coming up to the show, I'm like, man, it's really going to um I was trying to, I always try to play out the show in my brain before it ever happens, and I'm like, man, what's going to be the flow? So, but anyway, it flowed, and your questions were spot on. So, like I
Thank
said,
you,
I
sir.
learned a lot, and I know everybody else learned a lot. But anyway, with that said, Rod, go ahead.
Hot topic.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, do we have a hot
Hot
topic for today?
topic. But
Because here lately we've been having those guests, and we go so far over
I
an
know
hour.
so long.
It's
We
like,
got a
yeah,
few minutes.
so
We got a
yeah,
few
we
minutes.
got some minutes left today, so I'm glad.
All right. Hot topic. Is DEI dead? Well, people think that DEI is a negative for us as a country, as a policy. But the truth of the matter is, discrimination and racism is costly. And what do I mean by that, my brother? I checked with some of my economic professors, and we've done some research. And in the history of America, racism, discrimination, and hatred has cost our economy $16 trillion. Let me repeat that. $16 trillion. That's like cutting your nose off to spite your face.
Hmm.
It doesn't make sense. And this whole initiative started back during the civil rights movement when Dr. King said, the third leg of the struggle is civil rights. S-I-L-V-E-R. Civil rights. Which meant affirmative action, equal opportunity, DEI, whatever you want to call it, supply diversity. It was having dollars circulate through our community, which helped create jobs, got people off welfare, kept people out of jail because they were busy being productive. And for some reason, for the life of me, I don't understand it. But the amount of money that we as African Americans generate and spend in this country, it's larger than some of the largest countries' GDP.
Yes.
But we don't circulate it amongst ourselves. It comes in our hands and goes right out. So does it make sense that you would want to stymie economic activity and economic growth in your country, regardless of who the person may be or what they look like or what ethnic group they are? Because you and I know race is a construct. It's just bullcrap to keep us separated.
Exactly.
But the bottom line is, my brother, I think they're missing the boat. I understand it's a political ploy and it's helpful to them to generate enthusiasm and support for their political agenda, but we're hurting ourselves as a country with this attitude. And Jim said it. Some of the largest corporations in this country have a strong supply diversity program. The National Minority Supply Development Council is made up of some of the largest corporations in this country. And I don't think they're going to bow down to somebody politically pressuring them. But see, in government, this is what I understand. In government, there's no profit motive. Okay? It's power and favoritism motive. Okay?
Mhm.
So if government was based on the profit motive and they see that what they're doing in trying to keep a group of people back because of the color of their skin is hurting them and their pocketbook, then maybe they'd have a different attitude politically about this. I think they need to follow the private sector because this is good for America. This is good for America, that we have diversity in supplier chains and in employment. It's important. So I wanted to bring that up because really that was the heart of what Jim was talking about, was diversity, equity, and inclusion,
Yeah.
which basically means circulating dollars amongst everybody in the country, bro, so that it benefits the country. That's what it's really about. How do you feel about that?
Well, look, right, you've already said it. It has been proven time and time again through different studies, different surveys and all this stuff that DEI actually helps companies across all industries, right? To have a diverse, an equitable, and an inclusive organization, it says it all. You're attracting everybody. Not only are you attracting everybody, the best and the brightest to work for you or to work for that or to work in that industry, but also attracting people who want the products or services that industry provides. So they know that it helps big time. Like you said, the country has lost billions of dollars because of basically, racism inside of the institution and institutional racism altogether. But it was just like the movie, the motion picture industry for years and years and years. They would say the predominantly majority powers to be in the motion picture industry basically said that black themed movies don't play well overseas, outside of the country. And they knew that was a lie. I'm going somewhere with this, but they knew that was a lie. And so and everybody remember just a few years ago, when the Black Panther movie came out and how well it did overseas and broke all kinds of records overseas. But what I've realized, Rodney, is that the social construct of race and racism, that they are the powers to be in this country, who are people who started to not even necessarily be American citizens. Or at least originated, coming from the countries. they don't really care about losing black dollars. They don't really care about
Right.
losing
Good
the
point.
money. They don't really care about that at all. It's like, hey, in the motion picture industry, we rather lose billions of dollars than to be able to spread positive things about, African Americans to foreigners when it may undo, 40, 50,
Oh,
60, 90 years of work to make African Americans look less than human, if you will, abroad. So there are, what I've learned, Rodney, is that there are a lot of people and industries who are willing to lose big time money in order to keep or even suggest or make an attempt to try to keep us as second class citizens
okay.
or those others or whatever. It's big
Right.
time money to keep
Right.
to keep us, as they would say, in our place. So
Well,
yeah.
as they say, we got to keep moving forward. Don't look back. Keep
But that's
moving
all the
forward.
reason, like you said, right? And that's all the reason too for us to really depend on each other, to really
Correct.
get
Correct.
back to really understanding that the ice is not colder on the other side. Their
Yes,
ice is
sir.
not colder. We need to get back to that, and that's what Jim doing, with this golf, industry, and that's what he's talking about. And
Yes.
so yeah, I think that maybe some of the largest companies out there that's saying stuff like, well, we're doing away with our DEI programs and stuff like that. Well, maybe it will bring us a little bit back together in how we used
Mm-hmm.
to, because like you said, the money it just doesn't rotate,
Mm-mm.
in our community. I think it was something like, I remember seeing a survey or a study back, I would say 6-7 years ago, to where I believe it was the Jewish community where the dollar stayed in their community the longest.
Mm-hmm.
It was something
Mm-hmm.
like 30, like a whole month
Mm-hmm.
before it
Mm-hmm.
left their community. And
Mm-hmm.
then, it was the Asians and so forth and so on. But of
Mm-hmm.
course, the very last one, of course, was the African American community. And not only was it way off as far as even the group that was above us, and I forgot exactly which group that was. I want to say it was actually Caucasians, I believe, but I could be wrong. But it was so far the distance, because with us, if I remember that study correctly, it wasn't even a day; it was hours.
That's
Hours.
correct.
Once that dollar get in our wallet,
Uh,
within hours, it is
less
out
than
of our
one time.
community. Yeah.
That's correct.
So yeah. So
Yep. Yep.
yep.
Yep. Yep. Well, what we can do is continue to inform folks and enlighten them and encourage them to move forward and take the words of the guests that we have and that you and I share with them about the importance of us working together as a people.
Yeah, coming together, man. I think that's what the mantra need to be for 2025. That's what
Yes,
we're going to
sir.
try to promote here on the Roundup with Rodney and Rodney. And like I said, brother, I want to congratulate you once again on a great first season.
Thank you, sir.
I'm looking definitely forward to the second season, where we should have 24 episodes in this season, if not more, because of specials. And we may
Okay.
call each other up and say, "Hey, Rodney, we need to do something. We don't know what's going to happen this year, but
That's right. That's right.
we hope that if we have more than 24 episodes, that is because of a good reason, and not
Yes.
because we really need to kind of get out the
Amen.
word to some folks about something that maybe not so good. So, but
Yes,
like I said,
sir.
Rodney, it was a great first season, man, and you really produced a lot of great episodes and brought in some of the best local and even non-local
Hmm.
people onto the show. So I look forward to working with you, man, again for 2025 and
Me too.
beyond. And
Yes,
but
sir.
again,
Thank you.
congratulations, brother. It was a great season.
Well, thank you for putting the effort in and making the sacrifice to make this possible for the Black Man's Roundtable to even exist. So
Yes, sir.
I respect and much appreciation.
Absolutely. All right,
Well,
wrap it up, baby.
yeah, man, you can catch the Roundup with Rodney and Rodney on the second and fourth Thursdays of the month at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. You can like and subscribe to the Black Man's Roundtable on Facebook and YouTube. We are also on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. Until the next time, we'll keep rounding them up.
Peace, Rodney.
Peace.
Don't forget to check us out on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. Do you have show ideas or want to be on the show? Shoot us an email at blackmansroundtable@gmail.com. And please follow us on Facebook.